Hey guys, my name's Orthodox and welcome back to another Dragalia Lost Guide. Today we'll be taking a look at another Agito boss fight, Cayenne. Before I begin, I would just like to take a moment to thank everyone for the incredible support that I've been receiving on my last guide involving Ciela. Your support really motivates me to continue making these guides, and I greatly appreciate it. So again, thank you all so much. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. I have a lot of Dragalia Lost content and guides planned for the future, and I'm eager to share them with all of you. Additionally, consider joining my Discord. We're building a community of players who enjoy coming to hang out and play Dragalia Lost. But that's enough about me. Let's hop into the guide and take a look at Cayenne, and as always, I will provide timestamps pinned in the comment section below to help navigate through the video.
I will be your extinction.
At the time of recording, Cayenne is considered the easiest of the 3 Agito bosses available, making him the perfect endgame boss to get your feet wet and help you obtain powerful 6-star weapons. Max and bound 6-star weapons have incredibly high raw stats, making them universally useful across the other elements for newer players. And with the newly released skill share feature, the lack of a weapon skill will not be missed. Overall, Cayenne has some pretty relaxed requirements, since practically every shadow unit is viable in his fight. However, bringing a unit that has access to a buff dispel will greatly improve your chances of success due to one of Cayenne's passive abilities, Adamantine Shield. We'll talk about his passives in more detail in a little bit. For now, note that units who have access to a buff dispel in the shadow element are Grace, Cleo, Gala Alex, Nefaria, and Eric. Most of these units have their dispel tied to an empowered Force Strike, and Gala Alex has hers tied to an alternating skill combo unique to her kit. Additionally, you'll want a Max Unbound Chimera Tech Tier 2 weapon, and a good might range to consider is between 7.5 to 10k might for a comfortable clear. Also, new players will definitely appreciate having a Grace or Cleo on the team for sustain, and access to a buff dispel, thus employing the traditional 3 DPS plus healer composition for their first few clears. Alright, let's take a look at Cayenne's unique mechanics. His first unique mechanic is Adamantine Shield. Note, this is a buff mechanic that provides a shield that will reflect small amounts of damage back to attacking adventurers and can be temporarily broken if hit by enough attacks. It is best dealt with by a shadow unit that has a buff dispel in their kit, which will permanently remove the shield. Additionally, if you are running solo versus Cayenne, you can use a helper skill such as 70MC Ranzel's skill 1 to dispel the shield. And you'll be able to also use the skill as part of a skill share mechanic in co-op once it goes live. Cayenne's second unique mechanic is called Battleground. Note, the Battleground is a golden ring centered around Cayenne, and all units inside deal bonus damage. It is a double-edged sword, however, as Cayenne can also deal bonus damage to all adventurers standing inside the golden ring. Now let's begin by taking a look at Cayenne's human form move scripts. The first attack Cayenne will perform is an unnamed purple AoE. Note, this always opens up the match. He targets the farthest player, which is typically player 3, and to successfully dodge this move, you must wait a split second until the circle appears, then run north of Cayenne to the outskirts of the purple circle. More experienced players will be able to weave a few attacks in before he jumps to the location, but it is most important to learn how to dodge the opener first. After Cayenne completes his opener attack, he will perform another unnamed spinning attack. Note, 2 exclamation points will appear above Cayenne's head. He will pull his weapon behind him and brace himself for about 1.5 seconds before he begins a multi-hitting spin attack. This targets the closest player, and Cayenne will follow them for a few seconds while spinning. To successfully dodge this attack, you can move north to the outskirts of the battleground. 2 roll lengths of distance is enough to keep ranged units safe while maintaining DPS. The move is iframeable, but only long skills such as Ayasu's skill 1, so I would not recommend new players to attempt to iframe this attack. Afterwards, Cayenne will use his next skill, Unbreakable Satellites. This is a large red disc attack starting from the outskirts of Battleground, from which Cayenne will summon 4 orbiting satellites. These satellites cannot be targeted nor destroyed, and they will inflict blind if they strike an adventurer. To avoid this attack, simply stay inside the battleground. Additionally, satellites are iframeable. Cayenne's next attack is called Fight for Survival. This attack targets 2 adventurers with purple rings. These rings will spawn around each adventurer, creating temporary cages that deal damage and a small amount of knockback if touched. To successfully deal with this attack, all players should stay grouped up so that the cages overlap. When done successfully, all 4 adventurers will be safe from the cages, allowing them to continue safely DPSing inside the cages. Be careful not to pinch ally adventurers, as this will typically result in the end of a run. Additionally, Grace's shield will allow adventurers to walk through the cages, nullifying the knockback and potentially salvaging bad cage placement. Once the cages have been placed, Cayenne will use a move called Every Man for Themselves. Note, this move's name is a misnomer. It is a generic red stacker that targets the closest player and cannot be iframed. All players should already be grouped from successfully placing the cages together, and healers or supports should have defense buffs and or heals at the ready. 4 times DPS comps should be able to defeat Cayenne's human form before this move deals damage, and healer comps will typically tank through the stacker and clear moments later. After Every Man for Themselves, Cayenne will use an unnamed cone attack. This move has a red center and purple markers on the left and right hand side of the attack. To successfully dodge, melee units can simply roll through Cayenne, while ranged units can iframe through the center where the attack is red. Cayenne typically likes to do this move twice and consecutively. After Cayenne's cone attacks, he will do another spin attack. This one's slightly faster. It can also be iframed, and adventurers can simply leave the battleground to avoid this attack. Although note, if the team composition is seeing this attack, it is a sign that the DPS for the team composition is low. Cayenne's last attack in human form is called Natural Selection. This is a large purple AoE attack, and adventurers must leave the battleground to minimize damage taken. Do note though, seeing this attack means the team's DPS is very low, and the team may risk timing out, or they may not have enough DPS to break through Crushing Cataclysm and attack in his Agito form. Once Cayenne's human form is defeated, he will transform into his Agito form and deal an unavoidable blast. This can be dragon tanked to avoid the damage. After Cayenne has transformed into his Agito form, he will perform a smaller red disc attack half inside and outside of Battleground. Cayenne will do a battle cry, and an adamantine shield will be produced. The space inside the red disc will inflict blind, and to remove the shield, a buff removal skill must be used. Cayenne's next move, Crushing Cataclysm, is where Cayenne will walk to the center of the map. Then he will grab the farthest player, pinning them down in a purple AoE. All players must attack and break out the other player. Successfully doing so will free the player and cause Cayenne to stagger. If players are unable to free their trapped teammate, the run usually ends here, as the purple AoE does substantial amounts of damage. However, it is not recommended but possible to tank through this using Grace's skill 2. Cayenne's next attack is called Supreme Spheres. Note, Cayenne will flex and summon 4 floating spheres around the outside of Battleground. These spheres will slowly move towards Cayenne, and upon touching him will grant a buff, starting with the adamantine shield. Subsequent stacks will provide strength and or defense buffs. Additionally, these spheres are harmless to adventurers and can be destroyed. To best deal with this attack, destroy the southern sphere at the 7 o'clock position and have all players group south of Cayenne to prepare for the next attack. He will do 2 red half-moon swipes, starting with his right hand and then his left hand. This attack is iframeable, and this move, along with Crushing Cataclysm, can be skipped if team DPS is on point. A few moments after Cayenne summons Supreme Spheres, he will perform an unnamed dash attack. This targets the closest player, and it is iframeable. Be careful, however, not to bait him into a Supreme Sphere, as he will be gaining free buffs and this will disrupt team DPS. Having all players group south after destroying one of the spheres ensures this dash will place Cayenne far away from the other spheres, providing plenty of time for them to be destroyed safely. Additionally, after the dash, Cayenne likes to do 2 of the half-moon swipes again. This is a good time to pop the Supreme Spheres by iframing one of the swipes, using a skill to damage Cayenne while also destroying the spheres when they come close. Afterwards, Cayenne will perform his upgraded form of the attack, Unbreakable Satellites. Note this is a slightly larger red disc than in his human form. It is still iframeable, and the satellites that are summoned are larger this time around and will inflict blind. A few moments after the satellites have been summoned, Cayenne will begin to walk to the center of the map to perform Universal Annihilation. He typically charges this attack for about 3 seconds. It will cover the whole stage and it is a purple attack. To successfully survive this attack, adventurers can either Dragon Tank the Blast, which is the recommended method, or run outside of the battleground. Be careful to avoid the satellites on the way out, however. After the first Universal Annihilation, Cayenne will attempt to apply another Adamantine Shield, followed up by a smaller purple AoE inside the battleground. He takes a few seconds to charge this attack, and to successfully dodge the attack, it can be again Dragon Tanked, or you can simply leave the battleground, paying attention not to run into any unbreakable satellites. Around this time, Cayenne will grab and throw the farthest player. This attack will cancel their dragon form and do a small amount of damage, and it cannot be avoided. When Cayenne's HP gets low enough, he will summon 6 Supreme Spheres. Again, these spheres can be destroyed and will slowly move towards Cayenne, granting him a buff if they touch him. To successfully deal with this attack, players will need to destroy the southern sphere and continually bait Cayenne's dashes south. This will prevent him from colliding into any of the spheres and gaining any of the buffs. As the spheres approach Cayenne, they will overlap, making it easy to destroy all of them with 1 or 2 skills. Cayenne's last new attack is an empowered version of Unbreakable Satellite. Cayenne will walk to the center of the map, where he will summon a large amount of satellites this time, only leaving 2 small gaps for adventurers to leave or enter the battleground. These satellites again cannot be destroyed and deal damage while inflicting blind if they strike an adventurer. These satellites typically remain orbiting Cayenne for the rest of the fight while he cycles through a few familiar moves. Cayenne's cycle of attacks will always begin with the empowered Unbreakable Satellite, from which he will activate an Adamantine Shield through his battle cry, Universal Annihilation, and Crushing Cataclysm. If your DPS is low, you may see this rotation, and it is still possible to defeat Cayenne here, saving your dragon form to tank Universal Annihilation when possible. And just like that, you beat Cayenne. Congratulations! I'll be sure to leave a few different POV clears as well to help you become more familiar with the fight. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if this helped you or a friend, and I'll see you guys in my next video featuring Master Difficulty of Volk's Wrath.
I will teach you the way of evolution.
Umbrella Erasure! I shall bring reach to my set. Umbrella Erasure! I have an ace up my sleeve. Crisis Edge! I have an ace. Crisis Edge!
Is that all? Weak! Weak!
Crisis Edge!
I walk the path of nature. Your path is perversion.
Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge!
Agito, awaken!
Crisis Edge!
I am dauntless. My muscles swell, unstoppable, invincible.
Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge!
Now your flesh shall burst.
Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge!
My flesh remains unhealed.
Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Crisis Edge! Umbrella Erasure!
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Umbrella Erasure! Behold the might of my resolve. Crisis Edge.
Luca, you will fall.
Nice.
I will keep everyone safe, even if the cost is my life.
We are Agito, the Iron of all.
Just with moves, ancient Egypt. Night of antiquity. I shall be left to myself. I have an ace of myself.
Is that all? Weak. Weak! Such impudence.
Did you miss me, everyone?
From the shadows. Agito, awaken! I am dauntless. My muscles swell, unstoppable, invincible. This is true violence.
Night of antiquity. Night of antiquity.
You are lax, weak, unworthy. Now your flesh shall burst. Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Did you miss me, everyone?
Luca, you will fall.
I would expect nothing less.
I will teach you the way of evolution.
No. I shall play leech to myself. No. Night of antiquity. Twilight oblivion.
Is that all? Weak. Weak. Such impudence.
Night of antiquity. Twilight oblivion.
From the shadows. The weak will be eliminated as they should be. Agito, awaken! I am dauntless. My muscles swell, unstoppable, invincible.
Night of antiquity.
This is true violence.
Twilight oblivion.
My flesh remains unyielding. Now your flesh shall burst.
Twilight oblivion. Night of antiquity. Night of antiquity. Twilight oblivion.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Twilight oblivion. Night of antiquity. Night of antiquity. Twilight oblivion.
There is not but destruction at the end of your path.
Is this what it feels like to be alive?